Hey everyone, we got Ian here with his block deck that top 8 today in a 5 round Swiss with 19 players. Yeah, how did it go for you?
It started out great, and then the later we got into the rounds, it just got rough. This deck in particular has a hard time with yellow, and there's a very yellow-focused meta. So first 3 rounds were great, and then last 2 rounds were just a bit of a struggle. But, great time had. I did a lot better than I thought I was going to today. So just happy to be here and enjoy it.
All right, let's get a walkthrough
Cool.
with your black deck.
So this is a blockers-centric deck. It focuses on blocker and reboot. So for the babies, we have 2 of the BT2 WarGreymon and 3 of the starter. These each just give like a little extra boost to whatever you're eventually trying to swing with. Effects are only active on your turn, but it gives it just that little push it needs, because a lot of your things are going to be 1100 or just barely 1200, and swinging into them with security, this gives it just a little more space for comfort.
How'd you like the 3-2 ratio?
Most of the effects, it's essentially just a 5-0 ratio, because almost everything that you're going to be running is going to have both of those effects that cause it to activate. So it's where a lot of other colors have to deal with inconsistency in the babies. These are almost the exact same effect. And so instead of just dropping off the 4th for consistency, you get to run the 5th for the extra draw and not really feel the difference. As far as my rookies go, we have 2 Agumon, just basic blocker. We've got 4 Gatsumon. These are surprisingly good. The Agumon is one of the very few blockers in this color that doesn't have a memory cost to attack. And so these can be good when you just kind of have them floating on the field, and you can end up swinging for game with them. Gatsumon, when you have your Tamers out, become surprisingly large blockers for the cost that they are. We run a couple of 3 ties in here, and if you have even 2 of them out, your rookie is as big as every other color's champion blocker. So it really makes a big difference. We run 4 of the starter deck Toy Agumon. The inheritable on this is so huge. If your opponent doesn't declare an attack, at the end of the turn, you draw an extra card for each one of these that's out. Today, this is honestly what tilted me, is these are newer inclusions into the deck, and I forgot about it, and I ended up missing 8 draws against my round 4 opponent. That definitely would have given me the game. It was game 2, and I was just bricked so hard on my hand, but they hadn't declared an attack the entire game, and I missed 8 draws off of it. And so I should have ended up winning that one because I had won game 1. But that's on me. It's my job to remember my advice.
What about the matches before that, or the rounds before that and after?
That was the first game I had dropped all day. I had 2 at everything else.
So it was just having to be that particular game, you just forgot his effect, but other games that you saw it out, you were just fine.
I was remembering, and it was fine, yeah.
How much of an advantage are you getting off Toy Agumon?
I have drawn 3 cards a turn for like 4 turns, so that's an extra 12 cards. I think I counted in one tournament night, I drew an extra like 42 cards. So it is a huge advantage. And then these guys are kind of the key to your aggression. Toy Agumon, the inheritable, is reboot, so it unsuspends on your opponent's turn, which is really good for protecting some of your stuff. And also, you'll see with other cards later on, it enables abilities that just allow you to be aggressive. So that's it for the rookies. And then as far as our champions go, we're running 4 Guardramon, which are just huge blockers. Like I said, we're running ties in here, so we can get these up to like 10k, and they can just sit there with the Toy Agumon underneath, and you're just drawing, because nobody wants to swing into these. We're running 2 copies of Dark Tyrannomon, which are, again, just another good blocker. These are cheaper on the evolution, so if you know that you can get to your end game with them, you can use these to get there faster. And then, like I said, with the Toy Agumons, we have a little bit of spice. And so these are Greymon. And the inheritable on that is when you have reboot, you get jamming. So if you have these on top of a toy Agumon, no matter what you have on top, it has jamming, and you can feel pretty comfortable swinging in because it's going to jam and then restand on your opponent's turn, so it can't be hit on the crack back. And that wraps up the champions. For your ultimates, we're running 4 of Andromon, which is just a darn good blocker. It's as big as Gardramon, so it sometimes doesn't feel that great. But with your memory being set to 3, this is sometimes you're out for your draw. You can just Digivolve on top of the Gardramon. You lose nothing as a blocker, and you get the draw off of it. And then we run 4 Metal Greymon. It itself has Reboot. So if you have to hard play that Greymon for 4, you can go into this, and then you have a fairly cheap jamming swinger, which will reboot on your opponent's turn. And if you've been building your chain in your raising area, you can go Toy Agumon into Metal Greymon, and no matter what you put on top, it's going to have 2 security checks with jamming, which is huge for a normally very defensive deck. So what are we building into? Our Megas, we run 3 WarGreymon. These have Reboot on their own, so even if you're missing the Toy Agumon underneath, you can still get your chain active with Greymon and Metal Greymon. It reboots on its own, and it's also a blocker at 11k. So you can swing into security and then reboot on their turn and still use it as a blocker on yours. And then for protection, we have 4 Crania. The 4 memory cost is a little high, but we run some Tamers to help with that. And also, if you can build your stack with Crania on the top, you can get Crania swinging for 2 checks with jamming, and it's protected from things like Gaia Force or Trump Sword or Hell's Gate, any of that stuff. Crania makes this whole thing viable. I almost don't worry when I sit down to play purple, because all of their stuff is card effects, and Crania protects all of your blockers, which is pretty much anything in this deck that's going to be sitting on the field for a long time, protects all of them from card effects. The only way to remove Crania is with bouncing him to the hand, bouncing him to the deck, or DP reducing him. So that's why when I say yellow is a really tough matchup for this deck, it's because it's one of the few colors that have really accessible ways to get rid of Crania. In general, though, he's usually pretty big, and they have to make a decent investment. So your hope is that they have to invest enough that you can build back on the next turn. As far as level 7s go, we're running 2 Alter S because black doesn't really have removal other than Alter S for the most part. It's very good. It's still huge, great to find it in security, and the de-Digivolve effect is really great. And then we're running Chaosmon. Chaosmon has been a really cool inclusion for this deck because if you have, your chain with Metal Gray on there, you can swing for 2 security with jamming and then drop Chaos on top. And if you still have that Toy Agumon underneath, you're still your Chaosmon's effect still gets the jamming and the 2 security checks. So in one turn with Chaosmon, you can end up checking for 4, which is really nice. It really helps with the catch-up mechanic.
Did one feel good enough in the deck, or?
One feels really good. I might, in a different circumstance, in a different meta, I might run 1 Alter S and 2 Chaos. But for having to challenge yellow, the 2 Alter S feels really good right now. As far as Tamers go, we run 3 Tai Kamiya. Tai is a memory setter, and also on your opponent's turn boosts all of your blockers by 1,000 each. So if we have all 3 of these out, those Gardramons and those Andromons are 10k blockers. The Gatsumons become 6k blockers. It really, the investment of memory on these is almost always paid off practically immediately. I'm never mad to see Tai in my hand.
Yeah, it's interesting because certain compared to TK and Davis, those guys are probably the top 2 with maybe Matt being in the bottom of with how Tamers are, and Mimi's up there too as well. And basically any Tamer that can net you some form of advantage.
Oh yeah.
So when they only have like a basic ability, not netting you any plus, but probably just okay, a power pump here or meeting a situation to do this, they seem kind of mediocre. So you would say that like, this tie has definitely served this purpose really well for your deck.
Oh yeah. If I have multiples of these out, Crania can test Omnimon and Alterax. Like they have to decide if they want to lose their Omnimon by swinging into a 15k Crania. Like it is, I'm always happy to see tie. And then along with him, we run 2 Joes. Joes say at the start of your turn, if you have a blocker, you gain 1 extra memory. Joe's super cool because a lot of times you find your opponent trying to choke you out at 1 memory. You can just play them back and choke them out, and you're guaranteed extra memory on your next turn.
How much memory do you, on average, end up with during, at the beginning of your turn?
Without tie, I usually end up around 3. With tie, I almost always start at 5.
Wow.
It's really nice. And so that wraps up the Tamers. And then we only run 3 option cards in this deck, and it's the same 3, which I argue are the best options in black. It is Breath of the Gods. Breath of the Gods is one of the best things that you can see in Security, because when you flip it, it says that your opponents can no longer attack the player for the turn. So they cannot target your Security from that point out. And that saves you when you have no blockers on the field. Having that be your last security check, which happened once today. They had like 5 things on board, and I had just been really far behind, and they flipped Breath of the Gods, could not attack me anymore, saved me the extra turn. It was exactly what I needed to get out. And then having this card in hand is also very good, because on those times where you like couldn't build on top of Toyagumon, so you're missing that bottom reboot, but you still have the rest of your chain, playing this gives that card reboot. So it allows you to re-enable the stack that may otherwise just be sitting useless. And it's been just a huge, huge boon to the deck. I ran it at 2 initially, and I just found myself missing it, which is really weird because normally I like to draw Digimon. I don't like to draw options. And having 3 of these has just felt so nice the entire time.
Cool. And for your 5 rounds, what'd you go against again?
I went 3-2. I had a bye the first round. I played a very aggressive purple deck the second round. It was Joe's purple-yellow Mastamon recovery deck. And then I played against Manny's Imperial Dramon deck, which was that was a heck of a match. And then I played against the yellow-red security, and then played the pure yellow WarGreymon build for the last one. So I hit colors that I was really happy to play against, and then hit the 2 yellow at the end. But it's a very yellow meta, so that's just what you got to do.
Cool. Any shout-outs you want to give?
Just very happy to have the folks from Sonoma County coming out and competing out in other regions. I know that Nelson and Pablo have come out here to center stage. We've had Jose and Ryan, and it's just it's really nice to see kind of the folks from our home region kind of branching out, doing all sorts of new stuff. So shout outs to everyone out in Sonoma County who's playing, the folks who have come to visit us. Eric, who is competing here today, has been coming out and seeing us in Sonoma County. It's great to just kind of mix these communities. Shout out, I know you're not asking for this, but to you at Center Stage Games, because this has been a lovely tournament experience for me and all the folks who are just making this community great.
You say you guys play on what, Thursdays?
Usually Thursdays, yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, can't wait to see more of you guys, especially next month when we're prepping for our team tournament.
I'm hoping to be here for that.
Yeah. Mark your calendars. I know for us, we're going to be putting it on the 15th of next month on August. Okay. And for everyone who's watching at home, go ahead and leave a comment what you think about the black deck that's going against a very yellow meta format as of now. It's really tough. Our first place winner happens to be the same guy who got same exact deck too. He's had 3 first place. Yeah, he's gone first place 3 times in a row. On Father's Day, and then our tournament. Our Crest of Power, and just today as well. So yeah, he's running really, really hot, and we're looking for anyone who can take him down.
Yeah, I was so close, man. He was my round 5, and it was close. But all good.
Yeah. And don't forget to hit the like, comment, again, as I mentioned, what you guys think of the deck, any thoughts of what you might make any changes or how to play it or even questions. Don't forget to subscribe. Man, I'm forgetting what other YouTuber people say around this time. But
hit that bell for the notification.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm supposed to say.
There you go. I got you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. And everyone at home, thank you for watching, and peace.